Welcome to this week's edition of Thinking Caps, where we're going to be talking about Facebook's Faceplant and the Metaverse distraction. Stay tuned. So, Tim, big news over the last few days around Facebook and their financial results.
Financial disaster, the largest volume and value wiped off the stock market in history. That's pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, Facebook's finances are actually doing fine. What we're really talking about here is their stock price and what was talked about in their analyst call. Now, 26% drop in the stock price. That represents about a loss of $230 billion, which is the largest single wipeout of value on the markets from an American kind of company in history.
Yeah, I mean, look, we could talk about the ripple effects. I think there's going to be massive ripple effects. I saw this morning, Friday, we're taping. Twitter's already down. They didn't do anything bad, but I know you.
Snap got hammered as well. You know, I mean, it's Pinterest, it's Snap. Facebook is really, with this news, has taken down quite a lot of the competition.
Yeah, but look, you love this Facebook problem. You built businesses on the back of fixing the nefarious things that some of these platforms do. Like, give us your take on what's really going on here.
Well, there's actually a few different sort of headwinds that have hit Facebook all at once, which I think is why there's such a large sell-off in the markets. Now, probably the most impactful thing, shall we say, is that we've been used to this ever expanding growth of daily active users over the last 18 years. And actually today, Facebook had to come up and say, look, this is the first time in its history it's had a drop in daily active users. And I think many investors, many marketers have been sort of, kind of taken along with this win that Facebook is just one of these platforms with organic growth and acquisitions where the DAUs are just a never-ending growth path. And that came crashing down in the latest financial results. So that's a big issue.
It's a big issue, but we agree and we recognize they have a ton of people on it. But yes, the train that was cascading, ripping down the tracks is starting to slow maybe.
Yeah, and let's face it, why is that happening? And they were very clear about that. They were talking about, it's because of competition, but, Snap and Pinterest and others also got hammered by the markets with this Facebook news. So it's not really about all competition. It's really about TikTok, owned by ByteDance. That's really where all of the competition is coming and where Facebook is getting hurt most, particularly amongst the younger demographics migrating off the Meta platforms, the Facebook platforms, onto TikTok. So that's considerable. They've never had that type of competition with a platform that's growing that fast and innovating around kind of these short video stories that, let's face it, Facebook hasn't really got going yet. And that seems to be where a lot of the social engagement, social interaction, driven by these algorithms that understand what content is going to keep you engaged. It's all around those short stories, and TikTok is the eminent platform when it comes to that.
Well, of course it is. I mean, you have 500,000 views on a single post on TikTok anyway. So
I do. Yes.
What's interesting to me, just being a brand marketer, for the last almost 20 years, remember Vine, right? 6 seconds. What timing wasn't right. Even stars like Brittany Furlan, like it was cool and brands were trying to get wrapped around that. And then what did YouTube do? YouTube came out with the 6-second pre-roll ad where you really, couldn't tell a story. You could tell a story over sequential 6 seconds. So marketers got to be losing their mind here a little bit. What I thought was interesting in the earnings call is that it's the first time Zuckerberg couldn't buy the competition, right? They gobbled up Instagram when that pretty and those filters and no video, just images. He was buying up competition. Smart. I totally get it. But now he can no longer do that. He's got a platform that's his rival. I don't even want to get into this whole short-term, short attention span, everything's a reel. But it was interesting for him to say that they have to figure out their Reels product. And that's the first time I've really seen him say that. Like, we got to do what the competitors are doing.
Yeah, and it's going to be a tough ask, I think, just given the sheer scale and power that TikTok has managed to grab in the market in such a very short amount of time. So, considerable headwinds there that they've got that from a competition perspective that Facebook's actually got to deal with. But it's not the only issue that came out on the earnings call. They made explicit reference to the impact that the privacy changes by Apple through iOS 14 has brought about. I mean, that has really hit their ability to deliver the types of attribution data that marketers need. And they say that it's going to hit them in about $10 billion worth of ad revenue this year as a direct impact of those Apple-driven privacy changes. So that's another huge impact to the Facebook ecosystem.
He had to acknowledge it. He said at first, or they said at first, it wasn't going to be that big of a deal, but acknowledging it means it is a big deal. And look, we have another episode this week where we talk about the IAB and their conundrum with the TCF and GDPR compliance. And that's really going to disrupt advertising in a big way from a remarketing perspective. But yeah, 3 big headwinds for Facebook. So what's next? And do brand marketers have to worry right now about this?
I think, at the end of the day, they should be thinking about this. I mean, TikTok has now got $35 billion in advertising revenue driven out of those markets that Facebook have previously been preeminent in terms of social advertising. So there is definitely going to be a continuing reallocation of budgets away from Facebook to TikTok. You've got to follow where the eyeballs and the intention are. So, marketers are going to be looking at that from a channel perspective. But I also think there's some other things that we need to think about as marketers and make sure that we don't get caught up in, what shall we say, hype that leads us to spend more money on certain things than we probably should, given the state of their readiness. And we've got a number of bits of content coming up that we've got out around the Metaverse, which is a topic that was being very heavily promoted by Facebook.
Very convenient, right? I mean, Facebook knew all their data. They have the data before the earnings call. They knew this was coming. So I think the Metaverse hype could have been convenient as a diversion to this. What do you think?
Absolutely no question. Absolutely no question. I mean, as soon as I heard the news about Facebook's Faceplant, it's like, boom. That explains why we've had such a volume of hype coming from Facebook around the Metaverse. It's really important that they kind of take marketers, advertisers, the community, and focus them on the hot, shiny new thing, the Metaverse, to obfuscate what's going on with the problems they have around their core platform. But here's what I would say about that: as interesting as the Metaverse could be for marketers to deliver experiential connections, I reiterate what we were saying on Thinking Caps just a little while ago, that we need to get involved in how the Metaverse is actually built and to be thinking about what does it mean for all constituents that are going to engage in working, playing, interacting on the Metaverse. And that's why I think the webinar we've got coming up with Chris Wiley is so important. So why not give a little bit of a shout out to that?
Yep, that's February 16th. A sit-down interview with Chris Wiley, the Cambridge Analytica whistleblower that started a privacy, security, and safety revolution. Rich, great interview. I'm jealous. Everybody, you can register for that at CHEETAHdigital.com. We're at time. We'll see you at that one, and then check out our other podcasts on Apple. You can always follow CHEETAH Digital on LinkedIn, and Rich and myself, you'll find us there. See you next time.
See you next time.